Testing, testing. This is
Testing,
Reto
hello.
speaking at a reasonable volume.
Hello, this is Fred. This is my turn talking. Is it even on?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to today's episode of the Friday App Review. My name is Reto Meyer. I'm joined here in the studio by Fred.
Hello.
And we've got a bunch of apps to look at today. I think we've got 6 apps on the list. I'm going to see how many we can get through in the next 40 minutes or so. All right, let's not waste any time. Let's get stuck right into it. First off today we have, this is original. We have an alarm clock. We can't get enough of these alarm clocks.
We haven't seen them.
Please keep sending them in. So this is probably the last alarm clock we're going to look at for a little while. So
it's called Zen Alarm.
Zen Alarm. All right. So I expect this to be Zen.
Okay.
That looks kind of cool. All right. So we've got a Zen-like picture here. Blue, nice. Sort of simple UI. I will note that it's not just your video. The little moon icon down the bottom. Yeah, it's a little bit fuzzy. So I'm a little concerned that that's not set at the appropriate resolution for my screen. Is it my eyes, or does that look a little fuzzy to you?
It's fuzzy for me too.
Okay, good. Yeah, very fuzzy. Not as fuzzy. Okay, so we've got a menu item, so I'm going to hit that. So Get Alarm Pro, go home. So one of the things that you'll note here, looking at these menu icons, is that they're sort of a mishmash. So the home icon looks like it's something from... I'm going to go ahead and say Froyo Gingerbread. I'm not sure. It's got the grey effect, but it's not quite the straight monochrome of the other ones. Whereas the others look like they're custom, sort of designed specifically. So this and the Alarm Pro icon is in full color 3D. So this illustrates a couple of bad practices. One is that you shouldn't be using color for your menu icons. And the other thing is that there's a danger here if you sort of use the built-in icons for any of the particular versions of the OS, they're going to start to mismatch. So the ones you have which are custom, which are going to be constant, and the other ones are going to change. So you want to build them all, and you want them all to look the same and consistent. Otherwise you get this kind of weird effect here where it's like, well, they all look kind of different when I'm expecting them all to look the same.
You lose consistency that way. Yeah.
Exactly, and actually, the settings icon, which is down the bottom here, there is a standard icon to use for that. So again, I'd probably use that if possible. But a wrench is reasonable. People are going to know what that means. If we go into settings, we have a Zen Alarm push the screen to continue as a general set. Okay, so. We've got here kind of a workflow wizard to-do list. Again, the text here is a little... Sorry, I'm ruining the focus.
It's
the
this
camera.
approach seems to be pretty popular these days, where there's an overlay, translucent or transparent instructional screen to illustrate how to use a particular app. What I usually found tricky is that the alignments don't always work out well, depending on different screen sizes.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. In this example in particular, it looks like they've used an image for the instructions, so it's a little bit squashed and a little bit out of focus. So that's maybe one way that they've tried to make it all fit. But even still, you can see up the top here that the Zen Alarm tutorial push the screen to continue. For a start, that's generally referred to as swiping rather than pushing, unless they... No, pushing does work.
Okay.
Interesting. So the arrow is a little bit deceptive. It says push. It looks like a swipe.
Yeah, that was my first intuition too. Yeah.
I was expecting to have to go like this, but...
And with the overlay screen with some text on it, and on the main screen you also have some text, it became less legible that way when I first looked at it.
Absolutely. So yeah, and having it in the settings screen is kind of new as well. So I mean, the settings here should be simple enough to be self-explanatory. So you probably don't need a wizard there. If you feel the need to have a wizard, that's often a clue that your app is unnecessarily complicated. So sometimes it's good if you've got something which is really simple once you understand it, and so you just want to help people walk through that first attempt, then it makes sense. For something like an alarm clock, you shouldn't really need a tutorial or a guided step-by-step instructions to be able to set an alarm or a clock of any kind. So maybe rethink that. Okay, so in the settings screen, we've got show weather, weather in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit.
Looks like there's some text-to-speech technology.
Oh yeah, text-to-speech volume. I'll crank that up. Stop playing music in sleep mode after 30 minutes. So this is all fairly self-explanatory. I personally would have preferred to see this in a standard settings screen. I kind of prefer all of the settings to look consistent with the system settings. It's cheap, it's easy, and it provides that consistency which just makes the app feel a little nicer. There's no real reason to have there's no real reason to have this this picture in the background here. You don't necessarily need as much Zen when you're setting things up. Also, because you've got ads, your Zen is already ruined. So, all right. So I prefer my weather in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna leave it as it is, and Fred will just have to make do. All right. So we'll go back. What else do we have here? The alarm list, create new alarm settings. Okay, so if we just look at it as it is, it's basically just showing us a nice picture, the time, and I guess the weather up here.
The sun icon could be a little bit bigger, I think.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of empty space, which, I get it, because the whole point's supposed to be the Zen-looking image, I guess. It'll be interesting to see whether this image changes. I don't know if you've had it installed long enough to notice.
Let's wait for 8 hours.
Okay.
No,
yeah, or for the weather to change. we're in Mountain View, so it should be not sunny in about 6 months. So yeah, we could hang out. Maybe we'll come back to this.
If we will do it.
If the weather has changed next week, then we will reopen this. But I don't like your chances.
Gentlemen, have you tried setting an alarm?
No. You want us to set an alarm?
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting.
And I think that would be nice if you tried to set your location too. I believe this has that feature.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's actually do the point of the app and set an alarm. So I'm going to try and press the little moon button because I want to see what that does. Ooh, interesting.
Sound, tranquility.
Interesting. I feel tranquil like I need to go to the bathroom. So this is Fountain at a Park. Let's see. Spring birds. Only the first 3 around. Okay, no, that's fair. I like that as well because you can see all the options and you're told what is the advantage here of paying extra. So let's go with Blue Water Ocean, which means I would need to download 2.08. Okay, so this is actually a good example. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that the developer is not in England or the US. So in a lot of countries, so here you generally would use 2.08 to indicate a decimal. In a lot of countries it's a comma. This is a good example of where using localization to do the formatting for you is a good tip, because this looks weird to me. And I'm sure it looks correct to the developer, but it causes a little bit of cognitive dissonance.
So in Android, there's some built-in framework to make it easy for developers to take advantage of localization.
Yeah, and then you can just say what the number is and let the localization on the device fix that for you. So I'm going to download that. See. Yeah, this goes pretty quick. All right, so we can do the download. Boom.
Let's play it. All
right. So one tip here as well is you've got the OK button. I'd kind of use a standard button if possible. Wow, that's getting a little out of focus. It's gotten very blurry on my side. There we go. All right, so we can change the sound. So that's what it sounds like. I don't know how well that comes across.
All right.
I'm feeling very zen. Okay. So we hit back.
Let's go ahead and try to set the alarm.
So let's set the alarm. So for a start here, particularly if you've got no alarm set, I would kind of like it to be more obvious how to set it. So that's one of the tips of the reasons why we have this action bar paradigm is to make those primary actions more visible. Because here I think you need to go into the into the menu. So anything in the menu, you can kind of think of that as secondary actions, which a lot of your users are never going to find. So things like settings, home potentially are fine, but things like create new alarm, which is sort of central to this app, you want that front and center. Okay, let's have a look. Alarm time. So if I click on that, that's fine. This thinks it's 8:14 p.m. Let's say every 5 minutes. Click here to choose a date, weekdays.
So it says repeat alarm every 5 minutes. I wonder what's the practical use of.
Oops.
Oh, the app from last
the
time.
old app still installed.
Yeah, cool.
It's a good example of why that isn't always the most preferred
Right.
option. Okay, so what happens if I choose sample stream? So I can choose a file. So what I would select here is rather than having this file name, which is, I guess, the placeholder, if I haven't explicitly set it, a better option here might be, custom file, which would be nice. Yeah, okay, so we'll leave it at Fountain at the Park, hit save. So again, the save and cancel buttons, I would have kind of gone with sort of the more standard buttons, but at least make sure you've got them in the right order.
Right. Yeah, you guys see the contrast here. The system dialog box popped up with the black theme, dark theme, as compared with the custom buttons. It gives...
Yeah, straight away you've got this
contrast.
dissonance, right? It's
Yeah.
like, well, the system says this, but the save and cancel button look different, so why do they look different? They should look the same. So you can customize your alert dialogues. A better option would be perhaps to not customize your own buttons. So I haven't chosen a weekday. One idea again here might be to set a default. Let's have a look. Click here to choose a date. I'm trying to click.
Right.
All right, so let's see, select working days and weekends because it's always time for Zen. All right, hit save. Okay, so we got alarm has been activated. Next alarm starts in, I can almost read that in time during the toast. And so it's got it here. Because I took so long, it's not going to be set until tomorrow. So let's try this. 17, set, save. Excellent. Another sort of tip there is that process, if I'm sort of modifying something, it should just be modified by default. So perhaps hitting back can cancel it out. We just need an OK. It just feels like there's too many sort of settings there. I just want to be able to change it, hit back, and it is changed.
Right. Can you hit home and go back to home? Oh, I was wondering if it shows up in the notification.
Doesn't look like.
No, it doesn't look like, but in general, it's good practice to, if you have set something, let the user know in the notification shade that, hey, an alarm's been set, it's active. So what is it?
Okay.
Oh, it just came off.
This is the alarm. This is the alarm mode. In order to stop the alarm, hold your finger on the screen. Push the screen to continue. Okay, so this is a great example where this is probably not necessary.
So maybe...
Very weird things are happening here.
So maybe, to pause the alarm, you can have a button, an image button of some sort on the screen indicating, hey, press to pause the alarm or something, instead of having that overlay screen.
And in particular, so this, something is definitely weird going on with your text here. It looks like it's displaying two text fields on top of each other, and one of them is going away. I want to say that you're trying to do some sort of fading
animation.
in and out animation, and it's definitely not working on the Galaxy Nexus here. So the other thing I noticed, and I know you guys definitely won't be able to tell this, but the volume is increasing. We're gonna have to cut this short because I'm gonna need a bathroom break if this keeps up. But yeah, okay. So
the current time is 8:18. Today's weather mostly sunny with a temperature between 8 and 22 degrees.
nice. So when I cancel the alarm, it tells me what time it is and tells me what the weather forecast is, which is nice. So I can decide, screw it, I'm going to sleep in for another half hour because it's raining, or alternatively, I better get up at 6 a.m.
And it changed the background to a different one this time.
Yes, so that changes. And did it start to fade in? I feel like it started to get brighter, but maybe that was just my imagination. So again, we've got the next alarm starts in, so I can hit stop alarm. So effectively, by pressing it, I'm snoozing, and I have to hit stop alarm to make it stop. And I'm a little bit torn here, because half of me wants to say make that stop alarm button really, really big, so that I can just whack it when it's next to my bed.
I mean, there are two primary options at this point, right? You either stop it or snooze. So make these two very, very prominent so that the users know how to react to it.
Exactly, because if I can't hit the stop alarm button, then my next option is to throw the phone across the room, and that's going to get expensive. So yeah, let's hit stop, and we go back to the main Zen screen. All right, so overall, I'd say again for this sort of main screen, I think you can possibly do a little bit more to improve the quality of the overall look. So the fonts, the images down the bottom, making sure that they are maybe a little bit more prominent, or at least the right resolution. But the whole, like again, and I think we talked about this with an app last week, if aesthetics is kind of the key selling point of your app, you've really got to focus on that, and it's got to be across the board from your feature graphic to your icons, anything visual. You really have to emphasize that, because that's kind of the whole point. As we know by experience, there's like 1 million different alarm clock apps, all of which are fighting to compete with an app which already comes on the phone and does the job of setting an alarm. So you really, if the whole point is this is beautiful and it's Zen-like, then you need to make the whole experience as smooth and polished as you possibly can.
Right. So first impression counts. A
Yes,
lot.
very, very much so.
heavy.
The simpler your app is, the more that first impression counts, because I don't need this to use this app because, well, I need an alarm and this is the one I've got. It's like, I don't need to install an app for this. So yeah, work on the details would be my advice.
Cool. All right, shall we move on to the next one?
I'm sorry. This is the birdie that you're supposed to watch.
Oh, okay.
Watch the birdie. Oh.
Watch the birdie. All right, the producer's messing with me. I'm still sort of half on camera, half off camera as well.
I'm going to try and fix that right now.
There you go. That's how you know it's a professional organization, because we have a cameraman.
Indeed.
Yeah, we have a team.
A dedicated team.
Behind
Hey, Fred,
the scene.
John.
No, they're all called Ian.
They're all called Ian, but that's just a coincidence. It's not that there's just one guy called Ian. That would be ridiculous.
Which Ian?
Yeah, which Ian? Yeah, exactly. We just only hire people called Ian to keep it simple. Okay, let's have a look. Next app is Gtasks, which feels very similar to the name of an app which we have looked at recently. But it requires permission. So this
Right, let's switch to the camera.
switch to the camera view. Okay, perfect. So
all
this
right.
I'm going to go ahead and assume, based on the permission that it's requesting, that this is an app which is going to want to provide an interface for my Google Tasks.
Yeah, it syncs
Seems
with the cloud, it looks like.
Awesome.
Welcome to cloud computing.
I do love the cloud. What I wouldn't give for a non-auto-focusing camera. All right, focus on my hands. Perfect. So straight away, that's a little bit confusing. So when it started up, for a brief moment, it had a checkbox which had "Click Me" or something written on it, and it disappeared.
Oh, I missed that.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
and that's kind of the problem. So it seemed like it kind of almost wanted to give me a tutorial, and now that option has gone away. Let's see. So we can...
Oh, cool. So you can associate different accounts.
Multiple accounts, nice. Let's see, we can hit refresh. We can add new to-do lists. So let's see, review apps.
Yeah, it probably doesn't come across clearly for the camera, for the people watching, but it's a notepad looking.
Oh yeah, you kind
view
of got the
with
little
different
grey lines. Yeah, they're almost invisible on the video, but yeah, there's little grey lines to give it that notebook feel. I would say that the text size still seems a little cramped, and even the spacing between the lines, it feels like it's smaller than it should be.
Definitely.
I can see why you would do it, just to try and get more text on screen, but yeah, it just feels cramped. Date and priority. Oh, this is quite a nice display. So here we can choose the due date. So let's say before next Friday.
Like calendar. Oh,
Let's
due day.
remind us. Yeah, then, and it's weekly. Every Friday, perfect. Okay. Perfect.
So it's sort of interesting. I'd like to get your opinion on this, Ray. Can
Sure.
you go back to the calendar view?
I can try.
So from the previous screen where you have an action bar, and when you go into the calendar view, they sort of replace the action bar with confirmation or cancel, okay or cancel. What do you think of this kind of design? Is it considered like contextual?
It kind of is, right? It's a contextual action bar where the only actions that you want to provide are either to okay or cancel. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are other apps which do something similar. I want to say something like the calendar app. I'm not sure off the top of my head. So it's interesting. I think it works in this case because it's literally the only actions you can take from this. I'm going to go ahead and assume that...
Because they probably can't place these two buttons anywhere on the screen because you have so many options to choose from.
So this is the bit which I find a little bit concerning. So if I change the date, if I go to 21, so if I hit cancel, I would presume that that doesn't change, and it doesn't. If I change it and hit back, I would assume that back is going to be the equivalent of cancel, and it isn't.
It's implicit.
It's an implicit OK.
Okay.
In this instance, if I hit back, then I'm saying save. So I have to hit cancel explicitly to cancel the option. And to me, that seems backwards. So if I hit back in this instance, I would expect it to not save. So almost an explicit save.
So maybe you can change it to an implicit save and explicit cancel.
Well, I'd
by
almost
removing the OK.
I'd almost go the other way, and so basically just remove cancel, because there's nothing here that's you don't risk losing a lot of data. It's basically just changing the date and those sorts of things, and so it's flag is urgent. So I would basically just cancel the cancel and just have OK and back as the way to
Cancel it.
to go back to the previous screen, so that you can't cancel it.
Right.
That would be my inclination. And the other thing I think we've done here is, so the thing which is a little bit confusing is that it seems almost as though the review apps is a note associated with this task, but the task itself doesn't have a title. So you've kind of got this blank space here. Where
You're wondering what
the title.
You're wondering what this checkbox is.
Well, yeah, the text box is okay or cancel, but like, what's the white space? Like, this seems like notes about review apps. Make more notes. More boats. Notes. Yay, autocorrect.
All right. And you save.
So it goes there, and it's sort of creating this longer thing. But I kind of would expect this to look the same in both ways, if that makes sense.
What if you have more lines? Let's see if it.
You wonder how far it goes?
All right. So it appends.
appending it to it. That's interesting.
Okay.
Okay, we have refresh. We have the overflow menu, edit tasks lists, which is going to let us have multiple things, and I guess integrate the calendar as well, which is quite interesting. Add new tasks. Let's see what else we got. Oops.
Let's check out
Batch
batch
add.
add.
3 items for free. Press enter for new task. Enter.
That's an interesting way to monetize.
That's interesting.
So you can add up to 3 tasks in a free version.
But what is batch add actually doing?
Can you go back?
I can try it.
Yeah.
Batch add.
Batch add. Press enter for new task. You type something. Oh, so you can enter multiple tasks.
So just faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what if I have 4? Does
See,
it
it's
take
in
it?
grey, you see, so I think it's going to ignore you. But it did add it. Interesting.
Okay, maybe they know that we're reviewing their app on air. It's a
Possibly
special
not.
build.
I suspect that what it is batch add is a way of adding tasks to multiple lists, and we only have one list, so that may be the issue there. Okay, so I mean overall, I think it's a good looking app. It uses the action bar paradigm. I'm going to assume that it has a landscape mode. Yep. So, that's interesting. So when I switch to landscape mode, it seems to have lost all of my.
Did we create a task under this list? Friday review list?
Yeah, I think we only have one list.
How about all? Can
Go to all.
try
Interesting.
to rotate?
Interesting.
Yeah, seems like a bug.
So it's not associated with anything.
So the question is, how do you associate it with a particular list?
Yeah, particularly because here, I don't know how well you can see, but it claims that there's 5 items against both. So I'd really expect to see them here.
Yeah, it seems to be a bug, and
Boom.
it just force closed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna report this too. Do you want to have a look?
Let's have a look at the tablet version.
I'm going to report this
While
bug like a good citizen.
Reto is working on the bug report.
I'll try and be descriptive.
Yeah, let's launch the Gtask app. Oops, let me go back. So it's a wide view with a stretched screen, taking up the whole width of this application. If you go to one of the menu items to add a note, and you hit save. It got saved. So I would suggest, typically on a wider tablet form factor, you would want to introduce some padding on the side, on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side, so that it doesn't feel like too stretched. So, because right now, looking at the tablet optimized version, it looks like a little bit stretched. And also, you can probably work on the screen, the font size a little bit by increasing the font size, because at this distance, reading it off from the tablet is not that legible because of the small font size. You can switch to different accounts, and overall, I think in terms of functionality, the version on the phone form factor is identical with the functionality here. You just need to figure out the layout and the padding on a tablet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the two big pieces of advice here would be definitely work on a tablet layout, because something like Notes and Tasks works really well on tablet, and I've seen some good implementations.
Yeah, on a bigger screen, it just makes it easier for people to type in longer text.
Exactly, and where you've got this situation
Did you
where
write
you're
your
having
book on the tablet?
Not yet. Maybe
Okay,
the next
not yet.
version.
All right.
Yeah. If someone wants to write a really good word processor, I guess Google Docs. It does a pretty good job.
So, gentlemen, can you switch back to the Aptoids account really quickly? I think it'd be interesting to see if it picks up the.
The ones which we added on the phone.
Yes, indeed.
Well,
The
let's have a look.
Aptoid.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and refresh.
There we go.
All right. Okay,
Nice.
sounds good. It's working.
Now, just
And
out of
there are a couple
curiosity-
messages.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead and check that off.
All right.
Make sure you look at the camera
done.
while you're doing it.
But the
Done.
real question is, what does it when you click on that thing that says your Google Play order receipt, which I added by using the Add to Tasks feature of Gmail, and I had to use a Google Play order receipt because that's the only mail this account ever gets.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So this
That's
app is
it.
working
I-
well.
I guess it just
Yeah.
adds the
But there
the
is no
subject line.
attached email.
No, just the subject line.
That is too bad. I'm waiting for a Tasks app that can do that.
That would be a neat trick.
Take notes.
All right, nice. Okay, so that's the big advice. Build a nice tablet version, and if we get it to crash on air while we're just tapping through it, that suggests that you probably want to do a little bit more testing. It's a really a really important part of your app development is to really give it a workout. And one of the key tips I have for testing. So there's a bunch of stuff you can read about using unit tests and test frameworks and getting different devices to test it and all those sorts of things. One thing which a lot of people tend to forget is actually just getting people to use your apps. And you might think, well, I don't have that many people which are really qualified to test it. The best people to test your apps are the people whose phones you're constantly fixing, who are always messing something up, putting their phone in Swahili and not being sure how to change it back to English or whatever their native language is. They're the ones you want testing your app, because they will find all the edge cases, all the race conditions, all the silly little things that can happen. So yeah, definitely test it as thoroughly and as robustly as you can.
You can probably run a beta site by sharing your test app APK with a small subset of people.
I would go a step further. I would say to put it on their devices specifically, because anyone who's able to install an APK by themselves is too advanced. Too advanced for you to
All right.
So yes, put it on their phone sneakily and say, oh look, there's a new app on your phone, you should try it. Okay, perfect. So what have we got?
Feedback.
We've got a little bit more time, right? I think we're about 2/3 of the way through. Is that right, Ian? All right.
Let's
Let's
go to the next
have
one.
a look at one of our other favorite categories. So this is battery disk. So I suspect this is a widget as well. Excellent.
Let's switch to the phone.
Okay, so what they've done really well here is if I click it, if I just open it,
Did they have animation? Can you show us again?
no animation. Oh, that was the ad came in animated. But so this is primarily
No, I swear. Go back.
Go back. All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
try it again.
Let's try it again. Battery disk. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You're
that's
right.
what I
It
meant.
folds out.
Yeah,
Well
that's
picked.
pretty
Well
cool.
picked. Totally missed that. Eagle eyes on Fred. So what they've done, like attention to detail, which is nice, and also so this is primarily a widget. But if you open the app, it provides useful information here. So you can see all of the stuff right here. The only thing that they maybe do wrong here is that it doesn't actually say that it's a widget.
Right.
It's implied here, temperature on big widget and text inside widget, but you probably want to mention just a line of text which says don't forget to install the widget or
Right.
something.
Back to your point earlier. For users, for regular consumer users that may not be familiar with widgets, they may not know what these two instructions mean.
Precisely. I mean, if the app as it is exactly what they want, then you're in good shape. But it doesn't hurt to tell people that some of the other functionality exists. So this is all nice. We got battery disk and status bar.
It's showing both Celsius and Fahrenheit for the temperature.
It is.
Yeah.
36 and 96.8. Wow, it's warm inside the battery. I'm not sure what this does. So if I hit star, it takes me to the app in Google. No, I think
rating.
Oh, it's for rating.
Soliciting feedback.
Okay. Well, that's not an obnoxious way of doing it.
It's a good way to ask. It's a good practice to ask people, "Hey, give my app a feedback." But the icon in this case,
it wasn't clear to me.
Not that intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could have the Google Play icon. I'm not quite sure what the right solution is there, but on the one hand, I guess it's fine because it's an explicit user action. You don't know what to expect, so I guess that's fine. And then you've got the about. Again, that's fine. And the eye icon there indicates the about stuff, so that's fine. You've got a menu button of shame. So you've got a menu button that doesn't do anything. So all you need to do is set your target SDK to 14, and that will disappear.
It's one line change.
One line.
Get easier than that.
Okay, that's perfect. So let's move on. So this is an existing battery widget.
From last week's, right?
Exactly. So you can see that last week's. If you watched last week's beautiful battery widget,
you removed the big one.
That's right.
Which we can't really tell.
Exactly right. So you can see it's still a beautiful widget, and the color has changed due to the decreased battery life. So let's go to widget here and go to what was the name of this one?
Battery disk.
Battery disk. Let's go further back.
All right, there you go.
Battery disk. Okay.
Two sizes.
All right, perfect. So let's go with let's drop the big one on the screen first. Okay.
Oh, it is bigger.
It is big. Nice. I'm going to drop the small one on there as well, just so we can compare. Okay, nice. Either of them resizable? No. Okay. So that's actually quite nice. Actually, I like this circular look rather than the sort of mock real life thing. So that actually works for me.
Does the outer circle have a meaning? Or it's
I
just
can't
there for
tell.
styling?
I think it's just
the inner circle.
It's just that Tron style. Yeah. So one thing you could do, and maybe there are a bunch of themes which I think are just going to change the color. But one thing you could consider is to sort of follow the footpaths of a lot of other battery widgets and change the color of sort of the circles dynamically as the battery decreases. Yeah, and one of the things. So I'm not sure. I'm going to go on a limb and assume that these are PNG files with set colors, which is generally a pretty good approach. But if you have static images which have gradients and those sorts of things, you can draw them dynamically, which will let you be able to choose whatever colors you want and have a vast range of gradients and colors. Normally that's not a great idea because it's expensive to have to keep redrawing. If you've got something like a compass where you're moving things around, it gets expensive.
Right.
This is constant.
Right.
So you can even draw it once, save it as record it as a bitmap, and then keep using it with different colors.
Yeah,
so
it also helps decrease the size of your application.
Exactly. And then you can have 1,000 different themes, and it doesn't increase the size of your app at all because it's just different color values that you're inserting into the code at runtime. So that's something to consider. And you can do the same thing using gradient drawables as well as an option. That's presuming you're not already doing that. Otherwise, yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I don't know that I would put the temperature as a first-class citizen, but I guess that's one of the options in the settings, isn't it? Yes, so I can choose not to show the temperature and not show the text inside.
Let's go back and see if the widgets refresh themselves.
Let's look at that in Fahrenheit. And okay, now this is an interesting. Oh no, that's fine. Okay. All right, so I've taken all the text out, which is nice.
Oh, now you really get the Tron look.
It's a proper Tron look, yeah. Absolutely. Let's see, we've also added it to the status bar, so it's up here. And that's nice. So you've actually done a fully custom notification there. So that must be a bitmap that they're creating dynamically. So you clearly know how to do dynamic bitmap generation, so maybe you're already one step ahead of me, in which case I apologize and nice work. If not, you already know how to do it, so consider taking that to the next level for the widgets themselves. I actually quite like that. I think, yeah, that looks that looks tidy. I think you may want to have a little bit more padding. It feels like it's going right up against the edges, which for a circle makes it look a little bit cramped. So maybe just make it a little bit smaller. But I like it. I like the look of it.
Quite,
what do you think? As
widget.
far as your battery widgets go, how does this rank?
I like the big one. I
like the big one, the Tron one?
Yeah.
Can I put it center? Ooh.
Oh, it changes color.
Look at that. That's nice. I can put it center. That's nice.
Oh, wait, it just changed? Oops. Now it became...
Oh, it just actually
red.
changed. I thought it was related to me picking it up, but no, I guess it's because it hit to 30%.
Now that it's 30%.
There you go. So they are one step ahead of me. They are changing the colors dynamically. Nice. All of the feedback. They're implementing it in real time. It's blowing my mind.
They updated the app on the fly.
Yeah, and pushed it to my device. I don't know how you did that, but well done. Okay, so again, seeing as you seem to know what you're doing when it comes to dynamic generation of stuff, what I would suggest again here is maybe make this resizable, because it's kind of an awesome look. I might want to make that my entire screen, make one of the screens that. So having a resizable widget would kind of be nice. Yeah.
Not bad.
Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Nicely done. The battle of the battery widgets continues. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes, I think, before we need to stop. We've got 3 more apps, so we'll buzz through these pretty quickly. The lightning round, as the games folks like to call it. Okay, English training. Choose an activity to practice. So I speak pretty good English because I lived in England. Fred here has lived in America for like your whole life.
No? A big portion of it,
but it's still America. So you can speak decent American, but I don't know about your English.
Right.
What would you like to practice?
Gap fill.
Gap fill. Okay, so look. 5 questions. Time attack. Hell yes. All right. She has been of murdering her husband.
All right.
Pick a word, Fred.
Charged.
Are you serious?
Oh, she's been charged off? Come on, man. When Bob back tonight, he'll cook the dinner.
And Bob comes back tonight. All right.
Excellent.
Okay, so
there aren't many
question.
people here. This is actually quite
question
clever.
and answer. Game.
Ooh.
Timed.
Despite of... Last question. His office is on the second... Ooh. Well, it could... I'm willing to go with either floor or level.
Try floor.
But, you know,
So easy.
boom. Score 4 out of 5. You
Oh,
can
too
you can
bad. I
retry
failed
it.
you.
Yeah, I'm helping to I'm holding the team up. So that wasn't bad. And actually, the look and feel was immediately obvious. Even though we were being timed, pressure situation, it was immediately obviously
Right.
what you needed to
They have
do.
a hangman game too.
They do have a hangman game. That's nice. Wow. Okay, let's go with E. Do love our vowels. Boom. Ah. Jeez. Ends are always good. Whoa. What do you think, Fred?
Try it. Anything.
Try anything. I like it. G. No. Oh, it's looking bad. P's. Wow. Oh, I don't think I do not know.
Well, let's go back to reviewing the app.
Yeah. let's not focus on our inability to play Hangman. Let's continue with the app. So okay. So what I like about this is it's designed for someone who is learning to speak English, which means you want to have minimal language and lots of pictures. So one of the things which I would point out here is that it's not immediately obvious what all of these things mean. So gap fill, as soon as you go into it, you understand it, but it's not hugely meaningful.
Right.
And you've used a contraction here, or an abbreviation, I should say, irreg verbs, which I'm going to go ahead and assume is irregular verbs. But using an abbreviation for people who aren't necessarily great English language speakers could be a problem.
It definitely makes sense to spell out the words.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. And use as simple words as you can to try and help people out. If we have...
It was developed by two
IT
students from engineering school.
Nice.
Good
Okay,
job.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, and you've used the action bar here. The about dialogue is correct. There's no menu button of shame. And again, it's simple. There's nothing else you can do here but click through these and find out how to speak English better. So I'm going to assume that just means reset all
refresh us.
statistics. Yes, please. Otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's basically it's straightforward. It's big. It's visually based. I think you're definitely on the right track.
You know, we did promise our viewers that there would be voice recognition primarily because I wanted to laugh at both of your accents.
Nice.
But, is that what the microphone symbol is?
I'm going to go ahead and assume that it is, Ian. Whoa. I really hope that's the camera and not my eyes. Otherwise, I need to go to an optometrist. How many questions? Let's go with 5. Let's make it not the time attack. And hit start.
Decrease the...
Oh, push and speak. So, translate. That's
What
half
are
a
we
word.
supposed to
It's
do?
half a word. I don't understand. Servin.
Brings up... Oops, I screwed you up.
To serve. Oh, serving. Oh. So now this, I guess, is to translate the word in French.
Say the word.
See, now it wasn't obvious to me that I needed to know how to speak French before launching this
What
app.
is an English
I
speaking
simply
game?
assumed that you already did.
Well, yes, but I didn't realize I was going to be tested on it. Okay, so it's going to ask us a French word, translate it, and push and speak it in English, I suppose. So let's try this. The commodities.
Amenities.
Amenities. Yeah, I didn't get that. Inexactitude.
Wow, I have no idea.
You got a guess? No?
Ian, you want to take a guess?
Well, I'll just follow Rato's and say an inexactitude.
No match is found. Let me try it for you. Inexactitude. Because basically,
Inaccuracy.
well, see, now that's
Inaccurate.
the
Close
same
enough.
thing. And inexactitude is inaccurate. All right, let's stop this humiliation and return from that. So one thing which I would say, actually 2 things I would say. The first is that clearly this seems like it's targeted at French speakers looking to learn English. So that should probably be made more clear, particularly once you go into the vocabulary section, because otherwise that's not going to be helpful for non-French speakers. You probably want the French version of this first, which is maybe the first. For beginners, you learn French and then you move on to English, though I think that may be backwards.
So I want to check with the icon design.
I was going to point out the icon.
Yeah, it's got an
So
American flag.
It says English training, but that's an American
American
droid.
English?
So,
Or-
as an Australian who lived in England, I object. Unless you just rename it to American training.
It really should be the flag of India.
Sure.
No comment.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So I don't know, maybe more people associate English with American than anything else, but I found that a little bit jarring, but it's a pretty minor comment. I wonder what the irregular verbs are, even though we're out of time.
You do realize it's just the French people screwing with you, right? Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I should have known. It's like a French app which is using American instead of English. That's how strong this goes. Like the French are
That's
unwilling
English, right?
to even associate English with England. That's a big call. Okay, we're out of time. So I think I'm going to hold off these next 2 apps. I'm going to look at them next week.
Next time.
Absolutely. We got Cyanax and Easy Voice Recorder, both of which seemed pretty interesting. So we'll check them out next week. In the meantime, we're going to sign off, and Ian and Dan in an incredibly weird hat. Can we hope? We can only hope. So stay tuned, and you'll find out if Dan is wearing a ridiculous hat or not. And Ian will be here as well, just being ridiculous in general.
Can somebody get Ian?
Yeah, Ian,
All right.
can you go get Ian? All right, we'll wait for Ian
All
to
right.
get here with Ian. In the meantime, we'll be here again next week, I think. Yes, not I.O. yet, right? So we will be here next
coming
week.
up in 2 weeks, right? I.O.
I hope it's more than 2 weeks. I really do. So continue to put your apps in the moderator queue. We'll check out another bunch next week, and stick around for the games review. And we'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys.